Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Cabinet meeting tonight. First of all, if I could just read out the housekeeping. The fire evacuation procedures for this evening's meeting. There are no fire alarms scheduled for this evening. Therefore, if the fire alarm sounds, please evacuate the building immediately. The fire exit is located at the side of this room. Exit through reception and meet in the War Memorial Park. This meeting is being webcast. Just need to check that. It is. It's being webcast live on the internet and will be available to view on YouTube after the meeting. Mobile phones, if you can please switch your phones off or to silent, that would be appreciated by everybody. So my name is Simon Bounds, the acting leader of Basingstoke and Dean Borough Council. If we get on with the main business of the meeting, first of all, if I can take any apologies for absence. No, thank you very much. Then item 2, declarations of interest. Yes, Councillor Robinson.
Thank you, Councillor Bounds. I don't believe I'm conflicted, but for safety I will remove myself for the duration of item 9. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? No? Then if we can move to item 13, which is urgent matters. I'm not aware of any urgent matters unless anybody wants to make me aware now. No, thank you very much. Then to minutes of the meeting held on the 11th of January 2022. Can I just see if anybody's got any comments, any amendments, or whether members are happy for me to sign them off as an accurate record of the meeting? You are? Yes. Everybody in agreement? Yes. Brilliant, thank you very much. Then moving on to appointments to executive committees. We've got 2 executive committees in front of us tonight. So what we need to do is appoint some people to first the Basingstoke Executive Committee. We've got the current members in front of us. So the proposal is that Councillor Isaac stays on the Basingstoke Executive Committee and is joined by Councillor Bean and Councillor Robinson. Can I get everybody's agreement to that, please? Yes. All agreed? Thank you very much. Then moving on to the Many Down Executive Committee, that we have currently Councillor Isaac and Councillor Robinson, but they are joined by Councillor Bean. Are we all agreed to do that? Agreed. Thank you very much. Then moving on to item 6, which is the medium-term financial strategy and budget update report for 2022-23 to 2025-26. If I could ask Councillor Isaac to introduce the paper.
Thank you, and good evening, Cabinet and officers. This is the medium-term financial strategy and budget update for 2022-23 to 25-26. I'm pleased to recommend to Cabinet the revised MTFS for the 4-year period. The aims and objectives of the MTFS are to be presented to Council on the 28th of February. Since Cabinet considered the draft budget proposals in November last year, there has been a public consultation which closed recently on the 2nd of January. We received 96 responses, and I'd like to record my thanks to those who have contributed to that process. We've taken account of the comments made by residents, organisations and fellow councillors and have made certain revisions to remove savings from the financial year 22-23 and have found compensating funds and further efficiencies to ensure we continue to be able to report a balanced budget. I'm pleased, therefore, that it's been possible, because of our strong finances, to maintain concessions on rat pest control and also to postpone withdrawal of grants to the community and voluntary sector, and also funding for the transport and kite festivals to allow time for these organisations to make the necessary adjustments. As before, these proposals include increasing our share of council tax by £5 per annum for 2022-23, equivalent to some 10 pence per week per average Band E property. We remain one of the country's lowest council tax districts. In addition, for those who use these additional services, there's a 3% increase in fees and charges to pay for our higher costs of meeting demand for such services. By taking early measures to safeguard our finances at the outset of the pandemic, we are today in a remarkably good position and able to invest where our residents want us to in frontline services. In particular, I would highlight in the employing of over 25 full-time employees to provide even better services in areas such as customer services, grounds maintenance, street cleansing, climate change, planning and housing, and also to mention that we are going to be engaging a further waste and recycling crew. Exceptionally, we are at present able to project ahead to a balanced budget for another year, 23-24, and barring major upheavals or changes can look to close the current budget gaps for the remainder of the MTFS. So as a council we are in a very strong position, and that's testament to the strong control and cautious approach that we've taken over the years as a Conservative administration, and I would like to recommend these proposals to Cabinet.
Thank you very much, Councillor Isaac. Any other comments, questions on the paper from my colleagues? No? In that case, thank you for that, Councillor Isaac. We've got quite a long list of recommendations which I don't intend to read out, but obviously we've got things for us to note, things for us to recommend to the Council, and things that we would ask Council to determine for us and also approve. Are we happy to accept those recommendations as written on the papers for the meeting? Oh, everybody in favour? Yeah. Brilliant, thank you very much. Now, moving on to item 7, we've got the Capital Programme Update and Strategy Report for 2021-22 to 2025-26. Again, Councillor Isaac, if you could introduce that for us.
Thank you, Councillor Bound. The Capital Programme Strategy aims to deliver the Council's longer-term vision and Council plan where important investment in infrastructure is going to be needed. The strategy looks at how the Council will finance, allocate and manage capital investment into services and facilities that are vital to continuing to make our borough a successful, vibrant and desirable place to live and work. The updated capital programme to 25-26 is £132.905 million, which includes new portfolio priority additions to the programme of £73.31 million, all funded from council resources. £40 million of expenditure on new property investment forms part of this programme, which will be funded from disposals of existing property assets. The objective of these disposals and then acquisitions will be to attain improved rental yield, diversify and modernise the estate, stimulate economic regeneration and enhance sustainability. The capital programme also includes funding for Minniedown North to meet the costs of accelerating delivery of infrastructure to that development. The total investment will be £25 million and enhanced returns over current general treasury management margins are expected. As part of a review of Section 106 monies held by us, £1.402 million has been identified, which is not earmarked for specific schemes. This money will be taken out of the existing capital programme for allocation to schemes to be developed. Finally, I would ask Cabinet to note important investment proposed for upgrading the Malls of £125,000, refurbishment works to the Aquadrome of £3.961 million, and a new community facility for Norden, to which £731,000 is to be allocated, including additional council funding of £247,000. This report demonstrates both the high levels of investment proposed by this council for our borough in its infrastructure, enabling us to plan long term, and also active management of our finances to enhance our available capital resources. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Isaac. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? No. In that case, probably again, as on page 140, we've got the recommendations set out in front of us in the papers, which are both sections for recommendations that we note, but also that we make some recommendations to council. Can I ask, is everybody in agreement with those recommendations? Brilliant. Thank you very much. In that case, if we can now move to item 8, which is the Strategic Asset Management Plan. Again, Councillor Isaac.
Thank you. Cabinet, these proposals mark a very important stage in the evolution of this council's active management of its substantial investment, regeneration and operational property portfolio, which, as we all know, generates such valuable income to pay for resident services and enables them to use key community buildings. A Strategic Asset Management Plan, or SAMP as I can call it, tonight to 25-26 will enable a comprehensively planned management of the whole property portfolio and provide mechanisms to guide future decision making on new investment, asset management and disposal, all guided by overriding agreed objectives according with council priorities for our residents. The recommendations also provide an accountable method of governance that will enable timely decisions to be made on acquisitions and disposals. The SAMP also includes an annual property plan for 22-23, while council approval for the app, the annual property plan, is being sought for this first time. In future years it will be approved by Cabinet following review by Audit and Accounts Committee. The SAMP also contains a property investment strategy, but I'll go no further on that. The objective of this will be to improve capital and rental growth, increase diversity and resilience, assist economic regeneration and enhance sustainability. This will be achieved by disposal of underperforming assets. For our operational estate, of which there are 1,093 assets, the SAMP will focus on efficient use and management of space, revenue generation or sale of assets where appropriate, and transfer of facilities to community groups and parish councils in line with the council's community strategy. A programme of planned maintenance will also feature to enforce repair obligations and provide for energy efficiency in line with our climate change objectives. We'll also work with one public estate to we also work with one public estate to seek out joint sharing opportunities with public sector partners. To deliver these ambitious improvements, our property team needs to be properly resourced, something that we've struggled to achieve previously. The MTFS and budget update proposes the appointment of 4 additional staff, and I look forward to the property team delivering on this on this landmark advance in the way that we manage and deliver our property portfolio for the benefit of our residents. I commend the report to Cabinet.
Thank you, Councillor Isaac. On this item, we're joined by 2 visiting councillors. Welcome, Councillor Donohoe and Councillor Howard Sorrell. If I could invite Councillor Donohoe up first to the chair, please. Councillor Donohoe, you have 4 minutes. I know you've been here before, so everything will light up and then suddenly it'll go amber, and I'll give you 1 minute warning, if that's all right. You do have to press something on the microphone. Perfect. So when you're ready, do go ahead.
Thank you very much. It's a big report, and we were looking through that Labour group, and a few issues came up, and we've also had some contact from constituents on a few things. The investment strategy, I believe there'll be an address on the 28th on financial investments and trying to divest from things that aren't particularly green, so I'll leave that for tonight. On the property management and trying to move towards net zero, we've got what I think I would say was an ambitious target to get there by 2025. And looking through this document, it looks like it's going to be very difficult to do that. Some of the items, for instance, on the management of buildings, where we're looking to try and get those buildings towards net zero, to be confirmed following an audit. We haven't even got a timescale for it yet. So we had a little bit of concern about that, and we've come to ask, how are we going to do it, and can we have some sort of reassurance, and how confident are we as a council that we can get there by 2025? I have a second question, but you can take that one first if you wish.
What do you want? Could you use your 4 minutes first and tell us everything?
It's fine. So my second question will be reporting on how close we're getting to achieving that net zero target. And for something that is really, really crucial and is a climate emergency and is of concern to many of our residents and a number of groups within Basingstoke, it struck me that we should have some way of making it very clear to our residents how well we're doing in a timely manner, but also in a really simple manner. I can read through this report. I'll take the time and the energy to read through the report and see how well we're doing, and I'll work out what I think we're doing. But I think that we should be communicating to our residents. How we do that, I haven't come with a solution for you, because sometimes that's better to work it out together. A simple example would be some sort of traffic lighting system for certain elements of the net zero target. So those would be my questions, and I would like to submit the idea of some sort of traffic light system which would be on the council website, which would communicate to our people that we're taking it seriously, and B, we're getting there, and then it would also put a little bit of pressure on us if it looks like we're not going to get there. Time used.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Councillor Donohoe. What I suggest we do is, when it's the specific property stuff, that Councillor Isaac answers it, and then I'll hand over to Councillor Raphael, who I'm sure will be only too happy to share where his plans are as far as where we are with our climate emergency. So over to you first, John Isaac.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Donohoe. I wasn't quite sure if I caught what you said, that 2025 wasn't a particularly...
It was.
Oh, it is. Yes. Well, I'm glad we it certainly feels like that to me. We have a lot to do, and I can assure you that the officer team are clear that it's a priority, and that there isn't a lot of time to do it. And that's why there's a concerted effort going on at the moment in relation to carrying out audits on the directly occupied and operational properties of the council. Clearly, where we are not in occupation and where we might be, say, for instance, the freeholder, we're not in a position to insist that that improvements are made. But there's a lot of work to be done, and we've got to get a handle on what this is all going to cost. And so, yes, we will be coming back over the course of the next few months with a report, a costed report on what we and the priorities in terms of where we would seek to invest money to achieve the sort of the energy efficiency of our property portfolio.
Councillor Raphael, thank you.
Can I thank the councillor for his questions? They are timely, I would say, because we have, as part of our climate change strategy, there are 4 objectives, and one of them is dealing with trying to get to our property by the end of 2025 carbon neutral as per the target. The other 3, the toolkit, has been done and is working and has been launched, and the local plan policies are being designed and are being discussed over the next few weeks and months, and the EV charging points for on-street parking were only just recently discussed at a MAP and will be discussed further at CEP coming forwards. So this, if anything, is probably one of the hardest parts, but it's one of my 4 priorities. For this to take place, what I did was I made sure that we have the relevant parts of the council's housing stock audited, and that auditing is taking place in stages, because as you can imagine, there are different types of buildings and you can't be auditing everything on the same week. So they're going through them in turn. and then producing the costs of achieving climate carbon neutrality. I can't tell you what those costs are going to be at the current moment. Some of that auditing has been done. Some of it is yet to be done, but it's being done as we speak over the next few weeks and months. So the ambition is that a little later this year, we will be able to put in place a strategy to say what will be done and when. We'll be able to openly say, will we hit the target by the end of 2025? Because we don't know if we will. It's all very well setting a target a few years back, but now is the crucial time to find out if we can achieve it. And I can't say whether we will or we won't, because the costs involved might be so prohibitive that the council can't do it in time, or it may well be that it is achievable. What we have done is we have obviously spent the money to get that auditing done, and we're also spending the money to make sure that the assessments we do on the properties are accurate, so that we're not, as it were, getting it wrong. We're getting it accurate, and also to invest money in how we deal with carbon offsetting, because it may well be that what we can't cure we can offset, so we get to the target by one means or another. But I can't tell you, because I don't know how that mathematically is going to work out, but I'm pretty confident all will be revealed later this year. As far as traffic lights are concerned, I think the best thing is to work out where we're going to be, because traffic lights, in a sense, may be unnecessary if we know that we've got a plan and we're keeping to it in a certain timescale.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Donohoe. Councillor Howard Sorrell, if you'd like to join us. Welcome. We did see you sneak in. Brilliant. So again, you have 4 minutes. The lights do their thing, and I will give you a 1 minute warning. Thank you, Michael.
Excellent. Thank you, leader, acting leader. Congratulations. I'm here predominantly as a ward councillor on a very specific issue, so hopefully I won't take up too much of your time. Within our review of the documentation that's been presented to the Cabinet this evening, we noticed that Atwood Close is mentioned on a list of potential disposals within the, what's it called, the annual property plan. It's in Annex 1. Obviously that's within my ward, so I'm mainly just hoping to seek some clarity around maybe why that's been included, what potential plans there are for it, if it is going to be something that is disposed of. And I think you want all my questions in a row, so depending on the answer to that first question, it might then lead to a follow-up of what are the implications for the residents. But obviously that will depend. You might not need to answer that one. So yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Michael. I'm sure John can answer those points.
Yes, thank you, Councillor. There are a number of assets on that list, and it is purely indicative. And I think it probably appears because it's rather an unusual asset. It's what not one would call as a core asset, but there's no decisions that have been taken to dispose of it. And some of us, Councillor Raffel particularly, remembers what happened last time. There was a suggestion it would be sold. So we're very clear about what might be the implications, and if there was any proposals to bring it forward, obviously there'd be a full consultation. We'd discuss that, and we'd be looking for your views as a ward councillor. But I don't think there's any intention as far as that's concerned.
Councillor Raffel, as you want to share some of the history that you remember.
It was a sad time for the residents, and a new administration took over and looked at the council's assets and looked at that time as to whether there was value in dealing with that particular asset in a different way, and the residents were very upset about it because the alternatives for managing the site weren't good, and the administration at that time, I think it was about 2006, it was some time back, or 6 to 7, yeah, just after we came in, we realised that the best way of dealing with it was to leave it as it was, and that remains our current position. So nothing's going to happen. I think the residents can be told nothing's going to happen.
So I suppose you're now looking quizzical, Michael. I suppose my summary would be what I heard from my colleagues was actually it appears on a list, but that's literally all it's happening at the moment. I don't know. I'll come to Councillor Robinson in a minute, I think everybody has very painful memories. I'm sure some of those residents are still the same residents, and I'm sure they have some sort of very painful memories of that time as well. So in some respects, I don't feel that your second question we can answer because actually of the answer that we've given to your first question. Councillor Robinson, I don't know if there's something else you wanted to add.
I just wanted to give Councillor Howard-Sorrell some reassurance, I guess, in that the asset is on the list because it is an asset which is held by the council, as Councillor Isaac mentioned. It's something which is not a core asset. It's something that generally the council would not normally have, but it's clearly got a special place in the council. And as Cabinet Member for Homes and Housing, I certainly wouldn't support its disposal by the council, if that's helpful.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Councillor, for your time. So what we have in front of us, Cabinet, is we have the written recommendations to Cabinet and some recommendations to Council. Again, I don't intend reading them out. Are we happy to take the recommendations as written in the papers? Thank you very much. Now we'll move to item 9. We'll just give Councillor Robinson time to remove himself. Great, thank you very much. So we've got the overarching legal agreement with nutrient neutrality mitigation providers. That was a little bit easier to say than I was expecting. What again, I don't intend to give an introduction to this. I think it's really clearly set out in the papers. So I'm going to go straight to whether we're happy to accept the paper and the recommendations in it as they're written down in the papers. Cabinet, are we all agreed? Brilliant, thank you very much. I don't know how we give Councillor Robinson the indication that he can come back. Thank you, Russell. Oh, it seems to have gone a very long way. I think I can see the Chief Exec walking to Alton. I'm sure he'll be back in a moment. Of course. Thank you very much, Russell. So moving to item 10, Project Integra, the Joint Municipal Waste Management Strategy, and I'm going to hand over to Councillor Eachus.
Thank you, Leader. Firstly, apologies for running out just now. It's a bit unprofessional at filming, but I was waiting for the doctor and it was the doctor, so that's why. So yeah, this is the paper on Project Integra's Joint Municipal Waste Management Strategy. As you'll all be aware, we provide a regular waste and recycling collection service for over 77 households across the borough, and we want to do all we can to reduce waste and drive up our recycling figures. So this is what this paper relates to. Fully understand that recycling can be confusing and frustrating for our residents due to the limited number of items that we can collect for recycling, but then that is also because we can only collect what Hampshire County Council as the Waste Disposal Authority can currently process, but they do limit what they can process because they do in Hampshire make sure that everything we do take and process from the green bins, that there is actually a sustainable recycling market for it. We are working with the County Council and are keen to continue to work with the County Council and other districts across Hampshire to be able to increase the things that can be collected in our green bins. So the purpose of this paper is to try and push some things forward. We are limited to how far Hampshire County Council can push things at this stage because we are waiting for more details from the government's national proposals through the Environment Act. But to try and avoid delay and get things moving, what we're asking to do at this stage is to agree the Project Integra Joint Municipal Waste Management Strategy, and that deals with principles in there that endorses twin stream approach. Now, we're not saying that that will happen. We are encouraging it, and we are supportive of it, but we do have to make clear that when endorsing these principles, this represents the first step in a huge projects that are coming forward in relation to how we will be managing waste in the future. And at the moment, the strategy doesn't deal with financial issues, and Hampshire's aware of that, but we'll be working with them in the future to get all of that together as well. So I do recommend, as per the paper, that the Cabinet agree the Project Integra's Joint Municipal Waste Management Strategy, but obviously with the caveat that's set out in the paper, and that we'll continue to work with Hampshire to look to increase recycling and the products we can recycle in the future.
Lovely, thank you very much. Any comments or questions from my Cabinet colleagues? No, in that case, before we just vote on it, I would like to say, Councillor Leach, I think it's much misunderstood our role within waste and recycling, and I'm not sure many people understand that you chair Project Integra for the county, or used to, but you did for many years.
I did for many years, but because I did it for so long, I did have to step down. Not many people wanted to, but I did have to hand over because I'd done it for so long. But I will still play a huge part in it, and because waste is something close to my heart with recycling.
And I'd like to put that on record, all the hard work you've done across the county with all of the districts and other authorities for Project Integra, and the waste team has been really invaluable to get us to this point, so that we are ready to deal with the central government legislation. So thank you for that. Recycling is really important to us as a local authority, and I know it's something that everybody's really passionate about. So thank you for that. Cabinet colleagues, we have a very short recommendation in front of us, which is absolutely about those principles and endorsing them. Are we happy to accept those recommendations? Oh, agreed. You want to raise on this item, John? No, okay. So we're all agreed. John, what can we help you with?
Cabinet, I have omitted to mention that there's an error in Appendix 1 of the Property Investment Strategy, which has been brought to my attention by officers. So I don't think this will affect your decision tonight, but just for good order, in section 6.6 of the property investment paper, the figure 5% plus RPI needs to be changed to 1% plus RPI to cross-reference with the annual property plan. So I don't think that's too painful. But, yes, but
I just wanted to say, I think we were all made aware of that, and unless somebody wants to tell me that would change their decision on that paper, we were all made aware of it.
Fine, good.
Okay.
I think we just had to publicly mention it as well.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Councillor Isett. As we've got no other items, we don't need to exempt the press for anything confidential. I'd like to thank everybody for their attendance this evening, and if we could turn the webcast off, I'd be very grateful. Thank you very much.